Alright, guys, this is part 2. This time I sound normal because the last part was just so crap. Anyways, the whole world could have been like this, right? The countryside was just a fraction of what was out there. He just hadn't seen it yet. He had only seen what was within the small sliver of his life, never venturing out any further. There was the tiniest spark of hope deep down that just maybe this wasn't all there was. Somewhere outside this space was somewhere new, somewhere that wouldn't remind him of the searing anger that his life here had instilled. Bitter opened the window just a crack and took several deep breaths, allowing the cold air to cool down his mind and body. But how would he reach such a place? Where would he even try to go? What anything else beyond the space? There was but one person who could answer his question, and Bitter has the feeling that he might still be awake, even at the late hour. He never thought to comfort him about such a dilemma. Bitter has never dared to comfort him about anything at all, but staying idle was becoming too much to bear. Bitter takes one last breath before stepping away from his window, approaching his bedroom door. One quick tiss of the doorknob, and he leaves the room. In the short hallways outside, he could see light peeking out faintly from the stairwell. His feeling was correct. His father was awake. Bitter has made his way down to the hall and down the stairs slowly. Once he was far enough down the stairs, he could see the silhouette of his father slowly moving along various old wooden shelves that lined the far end of the room, all crammed full of old books, memoirs, and the occasional dusty photograph. Bitter watched him for a moment, hesitant to disturb him. His father plucked a notebook from one shelf that made his way to a matching wooden desk, positioned right beside the shelves. He has yet to return his gaze towards where Bitter was. Bitter wondered if now would be a good time to ask his father a question. He knew his father hated distraction when he has work to do. Bitter continued to stand and watch until he made up his mind to not disturb his father. Bitter slowly turned, trying to quietly make his way back up the stairs. A firm but quiet voice stopped his movements. "You need something, boy?" A sudden cold chill ran through his body. Bitter darted his head back to where his father was. He hasn't turned around from where he sat, still locked into his usual working posture. Bitter turned his gaze slightly to a mirror that sat on the edge of the desk, realizing that he could be seen in its reflection. He saw a fraction of his father's face staring back at him in the mirror. It was old, tired, and slightly torn with the scars of his past. Bitter could recall his father's old colleagues calling him Old Whiskey due to just how poorly the man seemed to have aged. The eyes stared back at him were eyes that have seen many things. Eyes were intimidating, yet not immediately threatening. Bitter cleared his throat and made his way back down the stairs. "Yes, father," Bitter said with a slight trouble, still shaken up from his nightmare and small burst of anger from a moment prior. Whiskey slowly spun his chair around to face Bitter, crossing his arms and resting his elbows on his knees. Both of his eyes were turned up and locked on to Bitter as he stood right in front of him. Bitter briefly shook off the lingering emotions and caught his breath. How should I put this? His eyes darted around as he attempted to collect his thoughts, though they were inevitably fall back onto his father's gaze, staring deep back at him with the overwhelming sense that his patience would wane fast as the Bitter meandered to long in his words. I've grown tired of this place, Father. This monotony and seeing these same walls and the same roads every day. It begins to weigh on my mind. Bitter began to slightly pace as they spoke, when their arms gesturing about to emphasize each word. I need something. Something that isn't here. I don't know what that something could be, or where'd I begin to start answering that question. Whiskey was motionless for a moment, silently taking Bitter's words. He hasn't moved an inch until he finally spoke. Is that so, huh? Is that it, huh? Whiskey's voice was inquisitive and hoarse. I don't suppose you're trying to run off to the mountains like your mother, are you? Bitter shook his head, no, and firmly responded. I have no interest in what lies here in the countryside. I want to go somewhere further, much further. Whiskey nodded slowly as he closed his eyes for a moment, thinking to himself. He brought one hand to his chin. I wasn't anticipating you wanting to leave somewhere now of all times. I figured you would have gotten sick of this place a long time ago. Made me think you were too comfortable here to leave anywhere else, but Whiskey slowly stand up, getting closer to Bitter. His eyes were now fixed downward as Bitter, an angle that made his gaze feel more frightening. But the overall demeanor was calm, and to Bitter's surprise, he felt a sense of understanding from it as well. There is a place that might fit of what you're looking for. I've never been myself, but a few old mates of mine said that it's nothing like we got down here from better or for worse. Whiskey rests his hand on Bitter's shoulder. That means it's expensive as hell. You got any cash to your name, son? Bitter nodded a little nervously. He accrued a sizable sum of cash he'd keep to himself, a sum that he achieved pawning off many of his mother's left behind jewelries and clothes. He had never told his father this, but he couldn't have cared much. He never cared for wealth, and the sight of his mother's belongings strung around the place only served to bring forth painful memories for Bitter. Then you'll need to head down to the mountains to the town below. Don't waste your time trying to talk with any of the folks there. Just find your way to the dock and take the next boat. You'll end up where you need to go. Enzik. Yes, that's the name. Spend a good week or two there if you need. What the heck was... Okay, I don't know what was that. But anyways, spend a good week or two there if you need. See if that's got whatever you're looking for. Bitter had to look of a surprise written all over his face. He didn't anticipate such a supportive response. Bitter nodded at his words. Thank you, Father. Whiskey slowly nods again, his hand drifting off to Bitter's shoulder. Bitter adjusted his posture and took a deep, determined breath. I'll pack and take my leave first thing in the morning then. For just a moment, a smile emerged on Bitter's face. But the new questions on his mind turned his face back to his usual blankness. If I may ask, what has made you so willing to let me leave like this? Whiskey turned back to his desk, taking a seat back in his chair and slowly turning away from Bitter. He was motionless once again until he looked back Bitter through the mirror. An ideal body breeds a mind's fallacies. You don't see things the way they're by not seeing at all. So go, see. See for yourself what lies in the world and be your own man, and decides what the world is to you. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. I don't know what in the world was that noise, but I'm gonna check it out later. So yeah, peace out.